hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Although I kept saying wishful thinking, apparently wishes do come true, because during the Game Awards that happened on Thursday night, it was Friday morning technically.
Yeah, I had to wait a little before I could see the live stream.
I did watch a bit of it, and then I fell asleep. I couldn't stay up any longer. But again, wishes do come true, because Joseph Fares's Hazelight, which is the studio behind It Takes Two, was nominated in 5 categories, and it won 3 out of 5, including Game of the Year, which was exactly what I was hoping would happen, because this game was absolutely the Game of the Year for myself, at least. And I feel like maybe Mikhail can share some sentiment towards that as well, because it was a very interesting game, and it kept you on your toes throughout the entire time. And the best thing about it was a co-op or multiplayer game.
Yeah, it was. The thing is about this game in particular is it's been such a long time since I've personally played a couch co-op. It was a fresh breath of air for a lot of gamers out there. It tells a very wholesome and touching story, while also just being a fantastic co-op experience. And I think it was. I'm really glad that it did get Game of the Year. It's a very bizarre choice, I think, to most casual people out there. Like, oh, an indie game winning Game of the Year. But I think it's deservingly so, because recently Hazelight has been suffering from a copyright claim, and I feel they really needed that W. So congratulations to Hazelight, to Electronic Arts for supporting this studio. And I know this is just the beginning for them. And they have this philosophy of this couch co-op experience that they want to deliver, and which means that they're going to go full gear on any future projects.
Absolutely.
Definitely going to support them.
And I hope that this also kind of inspires other developers to go towards that direction, because after I finished that game, I was looking for any sort of co-op game that I can play with my friend, and I couldn't find anything of that, quality, of that, just something that interesting, something that makes you this excited. We tried downloading other games, but none of them felt even similar to It Takes Two. So I hope that more indie developers or even big studios would go ahead and encourage and support any developer who wants to go towards that direction. But in terms of best game direction, I don't think it comes at a surprise that Deathloop was the winner. It Takes Two was also nominated. It would have made sense if they had won over here as well. But again, congratulations to Deathloop. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think was
an absolute surprise.
It was a surprise, because it's a new game. And I feel like it's still kind of under the radar, despite the fact that Square Enix kind of hyped it up and made everybody excited about it. But I feel in comparison to the other Marvel game, the Avengers game, this one is very different and way better.
My good friend played it recently, and he said, no exaggeration, this is one of the better Marvel games I've played. 20 hours of just absolute fun. And if anything, the characters in those games actually far exceed the characters from the MCU. That's his personal opinion.
That's very bold.
I'm waiting for this game to go on discount. I'm definitely need to buy it. Winning Best Narrative, it's no joke. Now you have to actually sit down and play it.
Absolutely.
The one for me that I found very interesting was trying to find it here. It's a long list. But there's, Best Performance. This was awarded to Maggie Robertson. She's the one who played Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil.
I knew it. I knew you were going to mention that.
No, but I'm happy for her, because there was people really like that character when she got marketed, and especially in the game. But it was like this post-launch of the game that people really were so fascinated with the voice actor, and she started growing this platform for herself, and people just absolutely grew to love this voice actor and her personal performance for Lady Dimitrescu. So I'm glad she got Best Performance. She's definitely
she deserves it.
She deserves it. And she's definitely remembered for her role.
Yes, and the other category that I was super excited about, that I was like, if this game does not win, there's no justice in the world. I know I'm exaggerating, but that's how I felt. But luckily for me, is that Best Score Music goes to Nier Replicant. And you know what, guys? If you haven't played that game, just listening to the Song of the Ancients is enough to warrant you to say, yeah, this has to win Best Score. This is the least they can do for this game. Another interesting win is Best Community Support. Final Fantasy 14 won, and in comparison, if you look at the category, it won against very big names. I'm not saying Final Fantasy isn't a big name, but it went against Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. So congratulations to them. Other winners include Best Action Game, Returnal. We've got a Metroid Dread winning one category at least, so good for Nintendo managing to somehow win despite the many losses across many categories.
There's also a Best Mobile Game. This goes for Genshin Impact. Obviously, at this point, it's a no-brainer. But I like that Pokemon Unite did have a nomination.
It tried.
It was a good try.
It was a good try.
I mean, because when we used to play
it's a little bit too new, in my opinion. It's still growing, and I feel like maybe some popularity might be dropping, unfortunately. So until they can figure it out, I mean, when I try to play it, now it takes me over a minute or a minute and a half for them to match me with a team, which kind of is not a good sign for a game, especially those type of games. Best Family Game, I found that hilarious because all the nominations except for It Takes Two were from Nintendo, and it's basically what Nintendo is all about. We've got Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, and Bowser's Fury, and WarioWare Get It Together. And they lost. They had a 4-1 chance, and they lost to It Takes Two. And that just tells you how big and important It Takes Two this year. So congratulations to, Hazelight and all the nominees and winners of this year's Game Award. Coming up next, let's talk about the various trailers that were released during the Game Awards. Coming up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Pulse 95.
Another big thing about the Game Awards happened to be the various trailers that usually debut in between the nominations and in between the awards being announced. And there were plenty of big ones, starting with Star Wars Eclipse, a new action-adventure game from Quantic Dream that is set in the High Republic.
Oh my God, yeah. Quantum Dream are known for making these very heavy, story-driven games. Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls. And for them to actually dabble into the Star Wars universe means that we're probably going to get something really great from them. Also, another trailer that was a surprise to me is Monolith Studios. These are the developers behind Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. They're working on a new Wonder Woman video game.
Yes, that one took us by surprise. Like, I did not expect that game to be announced, or that just an inkling of that game being announced. But also in terms of Warner Brothers and the DC world, also got exclusive first real gameplay footage of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is something we have actually been waiting for a while now.
And looking at the gameplay trailer, I am convinced. I'm just thoroughly convinced. This looks like an absolute blast. I'm glad that they actually delayed on this game and pushed it to 2022. It seems like it's a lot more polished this time around. And I'm always looking for the next co-op, crazy, fun sort of experience I can play with my friends and family. And this looks like it's going to be the game for me, to be honest.
And also in between other announcements such as Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga basically coming back and Horizon Forbidden Forbidden West gameplay trailer. Also more revelations and more footage of that. We also got some TV show and movies in between. One of them being the Halo TV series. It looked good. It looked pretty good.
I am really managing my expectations for this TV series. Halo, the trying to make a live action Halo has been a serious development hell for everyone that was involved. And this is going to be streaming sometime in Paramount Plus 2022. Looking at the trailer, there's hope that this could be really great.
Absolutely.
But again, I'm just stepping back and I'm
dropping it down.
I'm just waiting. I gotta wait if this is gonna be worthwhile.
It makes sense. And obviously we've got a whole bunch of Sonic the Hedgehog announcements, including the Sonic Frontiers reveal trailer, also Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie trailer, and we got to listen to the sweet, sultry voice of Idris Elba as Knuckles.
And are you satisfied with
It's Idris Elba. What do you expect? What do you think, Mikhail? What do you think?
Case closed.
Case shut and closed, and just throw away the key as well into the deep, deep abyss of the ocean. Cuphead, the delicious last course DLC, also announced another surprise release, which means that I should try the game again.
Well, bear in mind, this DLC has been in the works for a couple of years. They announced this many years ago, and I understand this is the kind of project that is very, very demanding in terms of talent and skill. And I'm willing. I know I've been willing to wait for this DLC for a long time. Maybe it just became more ambitious than they anticipated, but they finally came out with a release date for it. It's going to come out in June 30th, 2022.
Yes, there are a lot more announcements, guys, but we can't sit down here for the entire hour to talk about it. So go check out the trailers if you can. We're trying to hype you up about them. They're incredibly cool. We're going to be taking a very short mini break. And coming up next, we're going to be talking about how Cowboy Bebop is announced to be canceled at Netflix after just one season. Coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Pulse 95.
Only a couple of weeks after its premiere, Cowboy Bebop, the live-action series from Netflix, is cancelled after one season, which is very strange and interesting because they were insinuating that we're going to be getting at least a season or two, or maybe some sort of spin-off. Basically, there was a lot more to look forward to, so this news kind of comes as a surprise.
Yeah, I remember right before the series was launched and they were doing all this marketing promo, the show just came with a lot of confidence. It felt like Netflix was doubling down. They're like, we don't care what the critics are saying. We're gonna definitely make this a long time project, and maybe it doesn't resonate with, like, you know, for me and you, but I think it's still great from Netflix to give it a shot.
Absolutely.
But despite that, the critics have hammered down on this series, and reviews left and right have been mostly unfavorable.
It's kind of like it depends on the person. Some people enjoyed it and others did not. It was sort of like a 50-50 chance. And apparently the reason why they are going to be canceling it or have canceled it is, according to Netflix's vice president of original programming, Cindy Holland. She says that shows like Cowboy Bebop are canceled because it has to do more with the company's overall return on investment. So basically they're saying because people were not interested enough, they were like, that's not worth investing further into the series, which is quite interesting in my opinion, because I thought that there was a lot of buzz about it, that even then I thought they were gonna, jump on the whole even bad publicity is good publicity, so they're gonna continue on with it. I really did not expect it to be such a failure in terms of returns that they were like, no, this is not worth it anymore. Could be because of the production cost. I'm pretty sure that's quite big, and they decided that that's not worth it. Yeah, the cost outweighed the viewership, and because of that, I think they just wanted to cut their losses real quick. It's unfortunate
However, this hasn't stopped Netflix from announcing some future live-action adaptation series, such as One Piece. There's Yo-Yo Hakusho. I'm not sure if there's anything else in the works, but Netflix is still experimenting. They're trying to throw as many, franchises and adaptations on the wall and hope one of them sticks. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Cowboy Bebop did not stick, and as the show would always say at the end of the episode, see you next time, Space Cowboy.
See you next time, Space Cowboy. But we're going to be seeing you guys, or at least listening to you guys, in a little bit, because we have a rumor that potentially can divert the entirety or the entire story of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because according to this rumor, Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri in Black Panther, might be forcibly, as in she is going to be forced to be removed and leave the entire franchise for not following the rules. Coming up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
Rumor has it that actress Letitia Wright from Black Panther, she is the one who plays Shuri, the sister of the Black Panther himself, who basically was played by the late Chadwick Boseman. She is going to be forcibly removed and basically recast in the MCU because they have basically stated a mandate that if you're going to be a part of this cast, you must be vaccinated against COVID. And she has basically faced some backlash over the past couple of months or the past year, give or take, with some, I'd say, anti-vaccine rhetoric on the internet and whatnot, to which a lot of people she basically fell out of a lot of people's favor. She quickly became a lot of people's least favorite actor for the things that she was saying. She did backtrack and say that she was just learning and open to learning and whatnot, and she kept it at that. But then the rumors kept coming back and forth that she is the reason why the movie has been pushed back, or the reason why they have to take a big hiatus in between, especially last time, because the production they've stopped lately. And what they said was that she had sustained a lot of injuries on set. People are speculating, is that the actual reason, or are they trying to recast her because of what's happening and basically her beliefs that are against the mandates that are being put? And apparently, the rumor says that is exactly what is happening. They're actually actively working on recasting her.
Oh man, this is really some unfortunate news.
Do you know what they've been saying on the internet, all over social media platforms?
Wow.
They're saying she's gonna go down in history as the biggest person who fumbled the biggest bag ever.
I can see it because one part is that I want to defend her. It is a personal choice if you don't want to get vaccinated. However, if you have an entire production team, millions of dollars and movie budget and producers, and then you got this entire film, literally just all of it just sort of
is hinging on this one person.
Hinging on your pretentious choice not to take the vaccine, then I think you should compromise for them.
Exactly.
Personally.
Again, one thing, if we're working, the thing about the vaccine that everybody keeps talking about, that if you're working in a place that you're basically bumping into a lot of people, you're in contact with a lot of people, she's not going to be wearing any protection or a mask most of the time because she is acting in front of the camera. So if she does go out and mingle with other people, her family, her friends, and she does get COVID and she's not wearing her mask, she can easily get hundreds and thousands of people sick like this. So this is the reason why the rule was implemented. And had she been against that rule, she could have said that a long time ago and made it very clear that this is not something she would want to do, instead of basically pushing back this entire set behind. And basically, probably, we can safely kind of assume the reason why they pushed the entire timeline of the MCU could be because of this as well, because it was pushed back a couple of months. We're not getting Doctor Strange in March anymore. It's going to be coming out a couple of months later, and that kind of kicks off the roster of the MCU in 2022. So it could be that, because Black Panther comes soon after it. So honestly, it's very selfish of her. Again, especially since she's going to be in an unavoidable place where she's going to be interacting with a lot of people. And like Mikhail said, lots of money involved and invested in this. And also an entire trajectory of movies were hinged at this. The unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman meant that there was an entire role that has to be filled.
Yeah.
And now that, it was automatically assumed that she's going to take over as the person who plays his sister. But now if she's going to be selfish about it, who is going to take on the role? We do have, like you mentioned, M'Baku.
Well, I think this could be it.
It's a win situation for me, at least. And we do have as well the great Lupita Nyong'o, who plays, well, his fiance, Black Panther's fiance, and she can also take over. Again, does that play well into the comics, or are they just gonna completely pretend that Letitia never played Shuri and cast somebody else as Shuri? That is also an option.
Either compromise, take the vaccine, or apply for a vaccination exemption certificate. I know that's possible.
It's only possible if she actually has a valid reason, as in a medical reason, which I'm
or
guessing,
even a religious reason.
Again, I don't think she has either, and especially the religious reason. I don't think that applies to vaccines anymore in the United States when it comes to COVID. But my point is, fumbled the bag really badly, Letitia. It was not worth it. It is absolutely not worth it, in my opinion.
But this is an ongoing development. Definitely we'll have to wait and see what's the end result of this. What will Marvel Studios do? What will Disney act on? Are they really going to throw her out, or are they going to find some sort of compromise? Because, yeah, again, there's just a lot in the line right now.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to clarify one more thing, that because this mandate kind of came after Black Panther started filming, it does not apply to the production right now, and it does not apply to them right now. It applies to them in the future, but that does not mean that it doesn't make sense for Disney or for Marvel to stop it right now. It's because they're thinking of the future, because they're thinking about the many movies that are going to involve her in the future.
8-year plan.
Exactly. They're telling her right now, if you're not going to fall into place with the rest of the cast, we're going to recast you right now and you're out of the movie for the future, just to make the future process a lot more easier when they eventually pick out who the next Black Panther is going to be. Is this rumor true? I feel like it kind of is. There is some truth to it. It feels very real, but again, a rumor remains a rumor. Coming up next, let's talk about a very interesting partnership with Wattpad. Yes, that website that has a lot of fan fiction, because they kind of made or signed a deal with Viacom CBS. Coming up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
The pillar of the fan fiction community over the past couple of years have been maintained by 3 websites: fanfiction.net, Wattpad, and also AO3. And apparently, a very smart studio kind of decided that, let's jump into this gold mine of stories, because we've had various book deals that were signed based on fan fictions. So this exclusive deal is between Viacom CBS and Wattpad, where basically what they're saying is that now they can use the material on that website for it to basically fuel future projects.
I'm sure that's gotten Netflix a little bit sweaty, you know.
Yes.
They're like, oh dear, look at all that potential material and content.
But I feel like Netflix might have kind of inspired this with them taking on that project based on that subreddit, that whole thread on a subreddit.
Yeah, so them adapting it, internet stories and whatnot.
Exactly. So they basically inspired them, to say the least.
Yeah, I like the competition. It seems like I don't know what's the next big like webtoon, or what's sort of an alternative to
Webtoon.
Webtoon.
Well, no, here's Wattpad, fanfiction.net, and AO3.
Okay.
AO3, I think. I'm trying to remember. I think there was some sort of deal, not between AO3 itself, but between somebody who uploaded their fan fiction up there and another studio. I cannot remember who. But again, it's very common now, since for the past, I'd say 10, 11 years, it slowly became a place where you can basically scout out all kinds of people, scout out all kinds of stories that might be interesting as a book producer or a TV show producer or a movie producer. You can get inspired by them, obviously, by giving them the right credit, of course.
Yeah.
And that is where our problem begins, because
Not all fan fictions are good.
not that at all. That's different. That has to do with personal experiences and personal preferences. No, talk about copyright.
I see what you mean.
Who owns
Yeah.
the stories on AO3, Wattpad, and fanfiction.net? Are they owned by the actual writers, or are they owned by the website itself? So I feel like a lot of the people who used to write there or continue to write there should quickly go and check the privacy policy, check out all these terms and conditions to understand who owns what. Because I'm pretty sure also
It seems like a very gray area. At the
very
moment.
much, or at least an area that was never really delved into, especially if you're a young person, if you were growing up in the early 2000s and you just found this website and you want to explore your literary abilities. You just sat there and wrote when you were 13, 14, 15, 16, and you might be 26, 27, 29. You might be 30 years old and you're like, I remember the fan fiction I wrote a really long time ago, and it is just in the past. But what if somebody picks that up and makes it in a TV show? What if that happens? Or what if somebody picks it up for a movie and whatnot? What if they are loosely inspired by whatever you wrote? So a lot of people are asking them, because again, you accessed this website when you were young and did not understand these terms and conditions, and most likely just clicked on I accept and moved on. So they were saying that, hey, maybe you should go back, read the terms and conditions, and maybe archive your own work and delete them from the actual database, just in case you do not have the ownership of your own work. And most likely, I'm guessing, just like with Tumblr and every single acquisition and whatnot, most likely they're going to be releasing a whole updated terms and conditions just to tell people in the future that, hey, we might be using your content if that was already not specified in the original terms of conditions.
I think for now, Viacom CBS might strictly just adapt original content and stories
But even
from
then, original content
derives from some sort of
inspiration.
Okay.
Some of them do. I mean, look, that's what fan fiction is all about. And even though Wattpad, Webtoon Studios exists, obviously, and Webtoons most likely signed some kind of agreement with the comic artists, because now we're delving into another territory, because Webtoons are literally comics. And that's where, like you said, this is more about original content, and it's a different direction as well. So there are two categories, the Webtoons and the fan fiction. Fan fiction is like, I just found this community and I want to upload my stories there. But webcomics and basically webtoons and whatnot are most likely, there's usually some sort of thing that was agreed upon. If there is some monetary benefits to it, as in, are they getting money out of it? There's so many layers to it. So people who have any content there should be aware of what's happening with this acquisition.
It seems like a new market with new challenges, and I think over time they'll find ways to move around. But this is going to be exciting content to
absolutely. It just tells you that content is available everywhere.
Oh yeah, even on a fan fiction website. So this is like a fan fiction's dream, but remember at what cost, and be very careful what kind of fan fiction stories you've written. Mm-hmm. You may have Harry Potter fan fiction, but you're probably gonna have to make a few calls to Warner Brothers if you want your fan fiction to be adapted.
I mean, that could be the case, but then usually what happens, like with other books, for example, if it's something that is inspired by a well-known story or well-known franchise, it usually kind of gives off a sort of a spin-off that is not really related to it, but kind of inspired by it, loosely inspired by it. And that has happened previously with other publications, especially when it comes to books. Let's take a quick break, and coming up next, let's talk about that suggestion from Mikhail right here on the Afternoon Karak.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak.
For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail suggest...
As usual, if you guys missed out on any of our stories, we did talk about the Game of the Year awards. We spoke about also the various trailers that were released. We spoke about a potential actress from the MCU, basically derailing the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe because it might be true and it might be a false rumor. But it was an interesting talk and so much more right here on the Afternoon Karak. Well, it's okay because our podcast does go up a little bit later after the show. So check out our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And that includes SoundCloud, Anghami, Apple Podcasts, also Spotify. Again, wherever you listen to podcasts, just search up Afternoon Karak and you will find us there. Also, our YouTube video is also uploaded on our YouTube channel. So search up Pulse 95 Radio and Afternoon Karak and you will find us there. Subscribe, like, and comment as usual. But before we leave, we'd love to leave you with a little treat, and that happens to be Mikhail Atiya's suggestion for the day.
Okay, so moving into my apartment, I realized that I have to efficiently use my space, and that even applies to taking care of laundry. So my suggestion to you guys is really try to make a habit of folding your laundry right after they dry up or coming out of the dryer, because if you don't, and we all know this is kind of like the cleaning the dishes issue, where if you're just gonna let it pile up and it's gonna get bigger and bigger, and you're gonna have to spend probably a whole day to fold and get it all back into the wardrobe.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, once it's out of the dryer, once it dries up, take it, fold it, you're good to go, hassle-free.
And what you mentioned before is there's plenty of things to watch on YouTube, on Netflix to basically play
I'm so
in
glad
the
that
background.
my washing machine is literally opposite to my television, so
Perfect.
it's perfect.
And also, just like we said, we are on YouTube and we are on various podcast platforms. So check out the Afternoon Karak. You can listen to us or the other Pulse 95 radio shows as you all finish your chores, including folding your laundry. I can see Big Has as he gets ready for the show that is coming up next with Anna Schofield. That is Yalla Home from 5 to 8 p.m. only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.